Hi, my name is Maine, and with EX5 finally out in North America, there are a ton of new decks to play. EX5 is one of the more interesting EX sets we've gotten in a little while, in the sense that a lot of the stuff is at least somewhat competitively viable. With most EX sets, you're lucky if even one deck is a tier 2, or if it gives support to another deck. Although I would say just about every deck coming out of EX5 is worth talking about in a competitive sense. And the one that the most people are focused on right now is the brand new Anubismon. Anubismon was an absolute monster in the Japanese meta, and it is projected to be intense here in North America as well. So today we are going to go over Anubismon as well as a sample deck build so that you can get an idea of how to build Anubismon before it gets limited BT15. So when talking about Anubismon, it's a little tricky because I wouldn't really say it's a conventional deck as much as it is a purple toolbox style deck where a lot of the cards are sort of a mishmash of different engines. So in this deck profile, we're not going to go on the traditional, the level 3s, the level 4s, level 5s. Instead, we're going to go through the deck as an engine. So starting off with the Anubismon line itself, there is the 4 Labramon, the 4 Dobermon X, and the 4 Anubismon that pretty much every list plays. There is a Cerberusmon X that is in archetype. However, that does not really see too much play as they are just better level 5s for the decks. Starting with Anubismon himself, it has an effect of on when digi-evolving or once during your main phase, you may trash up to 3 cards in your hand. If you do, you play 1 purple Digimon from your trash with a play cost of 3 or less. For each card trashed by this effect, you reduce the cost by a further 1. So if you trash 3 cards, you're reducing something by 6. And that may not sound too crazy on its own, but once we talk about some of the other cards in this deck, you'll just see how powerful this is. And then its secondary effect is when an effect plays one of your Digimon, you delete an opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. But if this effect didn't delete anything, you draw 1 card. And this is not once per turn. So that means that you are going to be with stuff like Mervamon, which we'll talk about. You're basically going to be deleting your opponent's entire board or drawing a ton of cards. So you're able to replenish your hand a little bit from when you used its main effect. And really, the rest of your deck is just setting up Anubismon. Labramon on play lets you trash a card in your hand to get a Dark Animal or Shaman from your trash your hand. And Dobermon X is on play. It gives one of your Digimon retaliation. And then if it's Digivolving, you draw a card. And if it has Dobermon or X antibody in its sources, you activate its on play. And they both have the same inherited effect of when you play a Digimon by an effect, you gain 1 memory. So if you have Dobermon X and Labramon in your sources, you're basically playing a Digimon for -8 cost. And these are both really just about finding your pieces. And Dobermon X giving retaliation is really good, and you'll see why here in just a second, because a big part of the Anubismon build is actually its synergy with Ignitemon and Mervamon from BT11. So Mervamon, it's seen a little bit of competitive play, mostly in purple and cross decks, but this is like probably its most successful version. So Mervamon, if you want to Digicross with it, you can use a card in your trash, and then has on play when Digivolving, you play 1 purple level 4 or lower Digimon or a level 4 or lower Crossheart from your trash without paying the cost. But if you're Digicrossing, you can play another Digimon. So basically, one thing that kind of confuses people about this is that even if you're playing a Digimon via an effect, you can still Digicross. So Mervamon is 11 cost. With Anubismon, you can play that for 6. And then if you Digicross with it, then it becomes -9. So you're basically playing a new Mervamon for 1. And like I said earlier, if you have the Labramon and the Dobermon in your sources, you gain 2 memory again. So you're basically playing Mervamon for free. And that also has really great synergy with the Ignitemon, which you're going to use to Digicross it, It's when attacking, basically just deletes something which is not really relevant. You're more focused on it. It's inherited from when you play a Digimon via an effect, you gain a memory. So the combo basically goes is that you use Anubismon's effect to play Mervamon for a cost of -6. You Digicross to make it -9. And then you're going to play 2 Digimon out with Mervamon's effect. Because of Anubismon's effect, you're either going to delete 2 Digimon or 3 Digimon or draw 3 cards. And then you will gain 1 to 3 memory because of your Ignite, your Labramon, your Dobamon, and some of the other cards in this deck. And you're basically, and like we said earlier, because of Dobamon X's inherited effect, you can give Dobamon X's on play, you can give something Retaliation, and Mervamon gives everything with Crossheart or Retaliation, Blocker, and Rush. So you're basically going to have 4 attacks all set up with your Mervamon. With Mervamon, you basically want to play just some level 4s that work with the deck. Stuff like Soulmon from BT11. You can play the new Saberdramon promo, which has Retaliation, but it also has Raid, so you can delete one of your opponent's biggest stacks. You can also play the Dobermon from BT12, which just has an inherited of Retaliation, so you can play that with your Mervamon and then evolve into a Dobermon X to give your other level 4 if you're not running a bunch Retaliation, and therefore Rush. Or you can even give your Anubismon that Retaliation, and then you have this big board of blockers all with Retaliation. So the Mervamon Anubismon combo is incredibly powerful, and you see why it had to be limited to 1, especially with some of the other strong cards we're going to mention here in a second. So those are basically the 2 main engines of Anubismon. Another really popular engine you'll see is the Ogremon engine, basically using BT6 Sunomon as well as the BT14 Goblymon and Ogremon line. Ogremon and Goblymon have the same inherited effect where when you trash a card from your hand via an effect, you gain a memory. Sunomon, when you trash a card in your hand via an effect, you draw a card. Ogremon also has this as a main effect that really comes up, but you basically can use this in tandem with your Anubismon, again, to help you maintain your hand, as well as make sure you don't pass turn with your main effect. And this also works really well with your level 5s, the most common being Blue Maramon from BT11. That also has an inherited effect of when you play something via an effect, you gain a memory, but that also has a when you on Digivolve, you draw 2, trash 2, which is just to help you dig through your deck, get your Mervamon pieces in your trash, as well as you'll gain 2 memory, so it's effectively a 1-cost evolution. And as we all know, 1-cost evolutions are broken. And people also like to run things like Lady Devimon from EX1. That on Evo mills 3, and then it has a similar effect of when you play something from the trash, you gain a memory. Lady Devimon from BT3, just to have a similar effect with Blue Maramon. Or Mate Crackmon from BT9, because that allows you to trash a card from your hand to delete a level 3. So that's more to help you get rid of stuff like Floodgates. And it is a 4-cost evolution, but keep in mind with your inheritables, it'll be more like a 2-cost if you're lucky. Also, being a purple deck that is all about searching, you basically have to run 4 wisdom trainings and 4 purple memory boost. This deck is really important for having all of your pieces, so you basically have to run 4 and 4 of each, which does unfortunately kind of lock this deck behind a budget. As for some more lesser or uncommon text, one big one people like to run is Leviamon in this new set. That one is more just because you can play it for -6 with Anubismon's effect, and if your opponent has a big board, you'll be able to clear it a little bit easier. But really the big one is Death Exmon. So Death Exmon can be played with Anubismon's effect, and that would be -6. 6 more, but also Death Exmon's effect that reduces its play cost does stack with your Anubismon's effect. So that's going to be -6, -3 times how many cards your opponent has, plus all your inheritables. So you're basically able to play Death X for almost free, which is a little broken. That is another reason that Anubismon had to be limited. And then obviously being a purple deck, you have access to stuff like Ruin Mode. If you want, you can run the starter deck mat to help you have a memory setter. Here is the complete sample deck list. Hopefully you guys will get the opportunity to try this out for yourself before the deck has to be limited. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more Digimon update videos. My name is Maine, and I'll see you next time.